Learning by Example Code C# for Beginners, Part 2, Variables. Take a look at these two programs. The one on the left should be familiar to you. We have already used it in our first tutorial. The one on the right has a different variable name. As you can see, the variable names have no effect on the output of the program, so long as you spell it exactly as it shows when you first created or declared the variable. If I misspell it by removing the Z and hit execute, it will give an error. It does not recognize XY as we did not declare XY. We only declared a variable called XYZ. You can name your variables in nearly anything you want, but there are some names that are excluded. Take a look at this code. I tried to declare a variable named console, and it gives an error. The word console has already been declared in the library in the system. We are already using the word console in the console.write function. It cannot be used for two things. We can, however, put a lowercase c in the word console in our new variable. The word console with a lowercase c is not in the library. On this next piece of code on the left, this will also give us an error, as you can't declare a variable more than once. Here on the right, in this next one, this code is fine, as we are declaring the variable once and changing the value later in the code. And it gives us 5 this time, because in the next line we're giving it 5. If we erase 10 from the line where we declared it, the code will still function. Giving a variable a value is unnecessary when declaring it. In case you haven't noticed, declaring a variable will have that int in front of it, and that is called a primitive data type. There are different types of data types than just int, but we will get into that later. Just know to store whole numbers in the int variables for now. The next one on the right is another example of what you should not name your variables. You cannot put numbers in front of your variables, but we can have number at the end of variables, and it will work just fine. Here on the right again are some other examples of what you should not name your variables. In addition to no numbers in front of the variables, you cannot have spaces in the variables, nor can you have special characters in the variables. This code on the left shows variables that are acceptable. Numbers in the middle or at the end. Underscores are also accepted and can be your substitute for spaces, and can even be at the front of the variable. This last one is a name that is most commonly practiced in the programming community. The first word has a lowercase letter, and every word after the first has an uppercase letter. Let's go back to this program on the right. Now this new program on the left, the two lines with X are switched. This will give us an error. The variable must be declared first before doing anything with the variable. The program doesn't know what X is, since it hasn't gotten to where you declared it first, so it does not know whether this variable is something that can store whole numbers, characters, or large numbers that can hold decimal places. And that is going to be in the next lesson. We have been using the primitive data type int to declare variables up to this point. So the next lesson is learning different primitive data types.